This is the Blairing Out with Eric Blair show today with frontman Richie Cavalera and bassist Christopher L. of the band INSITE. What was your youth like being the stepson of Sepultura, Soulfly and Cavalera Conspiracy architect Max Cavalera?
Basically all the worst parts of the Bible, you know.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Just pure awesomeness.
What are two of the greatest sacrifices you've had to make INSITE the band it is today?
Leaving my wife at home for over 6 years now, I mean, that's pretty painful, along with my little puppy. And my body. I mean, my back's destroyed, my sleep's terrible, I have no friends anymore. I mean, it's pure sacrifice.
Jason Newsted comes into mind. He said when he left Metallica that he was so messed up physically.
People just want to pay attention to football players and basketball players, but I'd say any metal band that's up there banging their heads going through a car wreck, and we probably have the head injuries that NFL players experience, and I don't, doubt that at all. And we don't receive health insurance. We don't get no billion-dollar settlements and all that shit. So, it's what we give to what we love. Just like a carpenter or a drywaller or anybody that breaks their back.
The most unselfish thing you've ever done for somebody?
I took in one of my friends that was a terrible mess in high school and let him live at our house for 2, 3, 4 months, and made sure he went to school and slept on my floor, ate with us, did everything with us, and I consider that was a big sacrifice for sure.
In my day job, because I consider this my night job, I'm a professional tattooer, and I've given a few ex-inmates and ex-gang members cover up their gang and Nazi tattoos for free, so that they can kind of get rid of that bad part of their life, give them a fresh start, fresh ink.
So what was your motivation for forming INSITE?
Oh damn, I mean, when I was young, real young, I'm talking 5, 6, 4 years old, I was getting a microphone for Christmas singing Bubble Butt by SOD, and then going off and starting a band called Wicked Death with a couple kids on my block. That's actually where Up in Hell came from. So it's always been there, man. And then I saw all these great bands, man, and when I was finally felt like I was old enough to understand the business, understand the survival of it, living in a van and what you're throwing away to do it, I think I was ready. And then INSITE came around and started kicking some ass.
What do you think are the pros and cons of the Me Too movement?
They're all pros, I think that women need to come forward and share their stories, and I think people, especially people in power, police, lawyers, judges, they need to listen to women and not slough them off as being reactionary and hysterical, because it's been proven that most women don't want to come forward because they're ridiculed, shamed, and then not believed. So people need to wake up and start realizing that women don't want to come forward because they don't want to be shamed, but they should, even though they're risking their reputation and their sanity and all that. And people need to listen, and take them seriously. On the flip side of that, it only happens maybe once in a while. Women need to not use that as a tool to wreck some dude's life out of anger.
Okay, so Netflix just made a rule, allegedly, this last week called the 5-second rule. If you work on a Netflix production, you cannot look at the other people that are working on the production with you for more than 5 seconds. If you do, you'll be written up and fired. What do you think of that rule?
That's pretty insane. That gets to that order where you start getting to that police state environment where Big Brother, Orwellian, where everything you do or say is controlled, and I think it crosses the line. There's a certain line, obviously you understand what sexual assault is, and looking is I don't know, that
seems a bit extreme. I mean, I understand the premise behind it, but it seems a bit extreme.
They mean good, but it seems like
it's overkill.
More things for people to just tell on each other about, which everybody stops needing being a bunch of crybabies and get tough again.
What is it about the word INSITE that you identify with the most?
Oh, starting a riot. When you see me up on stage, it's about starting something. I'm very persuasive and very, insane. So I think that would definitely be my motivation of it.
And what do you love most about playing bass in INSITE?
Oh, just the energy, you know. Metal keeps you young. Playing with my buddies, you know, and we have a good time, and I think that we put on a good show, and, you know, people leave happy, so that's my motivation.
Do you believe that evil exists? And if so, how would you define it?
I mean, I state evil more as an action rather than it just being existing, you know, but yes, people are fucked up in the head as far as, you know, rapists, pedophiles, you know, all the disgusting things you can see on the internet anymore. You know, I don't think it's just evil. It's just, once again, you know, fucked up people, probably mental health issues that, you know, we're not addressing worldwide that need to be, and etc.
If you could fix any one injustice in the world, what would it be?
The difference between rich and poor. I think, you know, inequality needs to be looked at immensely around this planet. You know, when you have people worth, you know, $100 billion, you know, and then you got another bunch of people that are living off $1 a day, you know, I think it's disgusting. And, you know, something has to change on that front, because we're all getting fucked.
Racism, because at the end of the day, we're all human, and like he said, it's all about classism than racism. That's the real power, the ruling elite, you know, and we have more in common than we think, you know, the color of your skin or your sexual orientation. You know, we're all people, you know, and it's more about, we need to fight not within each other, we need to fight the system, because everybody's getting fucked over by that, no matter what color you are.
It's basically where you're born is what decides, you know, education, the area, the neighborhood, the family structure you have. I mean, those are all in play to that, you know, and that's what separates people, and that's what makes others look at others in a bad eye.
How cathartic was it for you to co-sing with your stepfather, Max Cavalera, on the song Stay Strong, a tribute to the early deaths of family members Moses and Dana Wales on the Soulfly 2005 album Dark Ages?
A great thing to be a part of. You know, anytime you get to express something about a loved one, and on the platform that Max gets, you know, it was very special for us. We have a great bond, you know, where we're able to share things. You know, a lot of people go fishing with their dad, and I get to rock out with my dad. And that's what it's all about, man. Special moments.
How important is fame to you, and could you live without it?
Oh, I don't care for the fame. My whole thing with this is just performing, man. I love to be on stage, whether it's, you know, 5 people or, you know, 10,000 people. I love to perform. There's a thing inside you that comes when you're almost walking out on stage, and it's unexplainable. There's nothing I've ever done that's come close to recovering that same emotion and that feeling, and, you know, that's really what it is for me, and I don't care what it is. I think that's what most, you know, have that same passion and that feeling, and it never goes away. It's cool.
If you believed there was a hell, would Hitler be rotting there?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if there was a hell, the thing about hell is everyone has a different perception of it. If you define hell as, you know, every wicked person that's ever walked the earth, then of course. But, you know, to some people, hell is a big party.
How important was it for you to sing and collaborate on the song Black Ark off the Cavalera Conspiracy 2008 debut album Inflicted?
That was a jammer. I mean, especially with the fact that you got Gojira Joe on that song as well, and that dude's one of my favorite frontmen. So that was fucking rocking.
Did you request to be a part of that, or did it just organically come together?
I was there just hanging out, watching the studio process go down, you know, and seeing it all take place, and just kind of happened, spur of the moment deal.
If you could collaborate with any legendary musician, alive or dead, who would it be?
Cliff Burton.
Probably like Bob Marley. Tupac.
Tell me what Logan Mader brought to the production on your albums 2009's The Slaughter and 2012's All Out War.
You know, working with him on The Slaughter was great, man. It was our first album, like going and really recording something low budget. We did it in like 12 days or something, you know, so, but we were fucking pissed, you know, we were angry, and it was raw, and he was really spot on. And I think, you know, the next time around it wasn't the same feel, you know. He moved the studio in his house, kids, the whole nine, and it just, it was weirder, you know. It didn't have the same vibe, and, you know, unfortunately, but it still was a killer album and a great time. And Logan's definitely a person that, you know, I love, and is, you know, a great friend.
What are the pros and cons of social media?
The pros is, you know, you can, stay in touch with people all over the world, people, that you've been friends with forever, that don't live near you. And, of course, information comes at you like in a split second. The cons would be, it's just given everybody a platform to be racist. It's given them a platform to be negative. Everybody gets on their soapbox. It gives them a platform to be overly offended over every little thing. It's just become this uber PC state, but the cons I think outweigh the pros in that respect, because it's changed a lot of things. Like I told you earlier, I'm a tattooer. Social media and all the internet stuff has just killed the magic of the tattoo industry. It really has. It's taken the pirate element out of it. I know you're laughing, but
I'm laughing because guess what? There's no mystery to it anymore.
Here's the difference: is what overcomes all of that is the talent that people will notice. You know what? Everybody, they can watch the tutorial, but they can't do it. Everybody can rock on stage, but they can't do it. We see it night after night with these 900 local bands that think they're fucking the next big thing in the world, and they're up there in their shirts they just got off of work in, looking at the floor, not even playing. I don't, that's not true, because there's still the badasses that if they're badass and they work hard, they will excel past everyone else. And the problem came when they started making it about ad revenue. We used to be able to make a post and reach 10,000 of our people. Now we get 1,800 people reached when you have 80,000 followers, and that's absurd. And
unless you pay for it.
Yeah, so that's the problem I feel definitely that's taken over social media, and change what it was about.
How would you define the word love?
One soul's recognition and its counterpoint.
Heavy metal is love.
What brings you the most peace in your life?
Sitting on my bed with my puppy right there, my wife on my left, with a fat blunt in my hand.
What has been the secret to you not becoming a casualty of sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
I don't have an addictive personality, for one. All those things I can do without. I do them in moderation. As you get older, you learn how to moderate yourself and all that. So I would rather play music than be wasted.
If I had a crew, I'd be a casualty of all of that. But no, I've got to sell merch, I've got to drive, I've got to book work, I've got to make sure the shit flows. That's the only thing that's saved my life.
You wear a lot of the hats in making this happen.
Well, I'm like the CEO, and then you got the CFO, and everybody has their parts. But I've been running this machine now for 15 years almost, so it's just what I got to make sure that happens. My guys are comfortable and is making as much as we can,
and no sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Oh no, we do. Drew's single though; he gets to do all that.
Yeah. Party boy USA.
It's a little dangerous. What do you love most about connecting with your fans, L?
Just the exchange of energies back and forth. That's the best part, is when you're playing and you see them getting into it and they're enjoying themselves, smiling, having a good time, and that comes back to you and it makes you want to play better, harder, put on a better show.
Making new relationships. Like I said, I don't have friends, so it's fun to talk to people, and I love to talk.
What do you love about having your brothers Igor Cavalera and Zion Cavalera, their band Lodi Kong, as tour mates?
It's great, man, to get to take them out in a van tour and teach them the road and teach them how we do it, from the Flying J's and what you do and the secrets and all that is great, man. And then also, they're one of my favorite bands. Not saying that because they're family. What they do is just, it's awesome, it's different, it's energy, it's rare, it's punk rock, it's stoner, it's just cool.
How did you meet your wife, fetish model Chandra McKay, and how did you know she was the one?
We were playing in Portland, and she was up there doing a photo shoot, actually, so by chance she came to the show, and, we kicked it off, started talking, and, every day stayed in touch, and I, went and visited her, and next thing you know, it was just awesome. She's a metalhead, she's a stoner, she works her fucking ass off, and she supports this, and, she lets me go out for 6-7 months of the year and do my thing, and loves me the same.
Will you take the RFID chip?
I won't.
Biblical negatory on that. I don't even, I've tried to smash the chip in my passport, so.
Yeah.
See? Fuck the chip. Yeah, fuck the chip.
That's why they're not going to get everybody with a chip, because you have people like us that don't.
The only chips I want is to dip in my guacamole.
you're gonna have to kill everybody to get a chip in them. Maybe some idiots will be like, okay.
You guys, it's been great.
That
great.
was interesting and fun. I
Thank
love
you,
that.
man.
That's what it's all about, man.
This is the Blurring Out with Eric Blair show with frontman Richie Cavalera and bassist Christopher L. of the band Incite. Signing off.
The Blurring Out show.